Hi, this is Amanda back with another Fairy Stamper Design Team project. And today I'm going to be showing you how to alter pattern paper or pre-printed papers. I will be working with one of the Fairyscapes papers from Fairy Hugs. And I'm going to be using this stencil to start out with. And this is a Pink Ink Designs stencil, and it's called the Fantasy Fungi stencil. It's a really large stencil, but I've used it a couple times in some of my design team projects. I think I used it for a I cannot remember the name, an Arginal page. There we go. I might have used it for a card too. I don't remember, but anyway, I really enjoy this stencil. I think it's really fun. Even though it's large, you can see that I am still using it for an A2 sized card. The Fairyscapes was a 6x6 background paper, and I just used an A2 die to cut that down first. I did use a piece of post-it note tape there to mask off one of the insides of that mushroom because I wanted it to be solid-ish like the other two mushrooms. I'm not sure if that was a good choice or not, but I did it, so that's what that's what I did. Anyway, you will see that I will fight with that masking paper a little bit throughout this ink blending, but it is what it is. Anyway, so I am using a Villainous Potion in Distress Oxide. I am choosing Distress Oxides because I want to go over these rather dark colors in this background paper. And Distress Oxides are opaque. If I were to use Distress inks, which are translucent, they would not cover up the colors in the background paper so much. So they would be translucent, so they would more mix with the colors. So if I picked colors that didn't go with the background, didn't mix well with the background colors that I already had going on there, I could make mud. So that is why I picked the Oxides. So I want the colors in the background paper to show through the areas that my stencil is covering. So rather using the stencil as a mask, sort of. And you will see that this turns out really cool. At least I think it does in the end. So I've got the Villainous Potion here, and then I laid down some peacock feathers. I am just going to blend those two colors together. Here I got smart. I'm fighting with that little piece of masking paper, and instead of continuing trying to stick it down to the wet ink, I took a little bit of my rag, wiped off the ink off the stencil, and now I'm going to put that masking paper back on, and it's not going to come up nearly as much as it was before because I used my brain. Sometimes you just kind of get into the project and you don't really think about what you're doing. So I'm just going to clean up my mat here for a second because I am going to use some Twisted Citron, and I didn't want to pick up those colors of that ink onto my brush as I'm blending on this much lighter color. So this color isn't going to cover up the background nearly as much as the other two colors did, but the top of that paper is a little bit lighter than the rest of it was, so it blends in nicely, I think. So this is one way that you can alter your patterned paper or pre-printed paper, if you will, is by using a stencil or ink blending over it. Another way that you can do this, as you're going to see here, is to stencil through a stencil or double stenciling. So I am just laying this stencil by Ciao Bella. This is the Washers stencil. I believe on the Fairy Stamper site it is called Concentric Circles or something along those lines. But the Ciao Bella website calls it Washers. So whatever you want to call it, I will have it linked down in the description box below for you so you can easily find it on the Fairy Stamper website. But anyway, so I am stenciling through a stencil, so the most open areas of the Fantasy Fungi stencil, you will see these circles, the washer looking circles through those open areas, and that will give me a little bit more texture and interest to my background when I remove both of these stencils. And I think it gives a very fun look. So this will be a 1-layer card when I am through with everything. And so the last way that we will be altering the background a little bit is by adding my stamping. So I'm going to remove the stencil, and this is the fun reveal. I think the best part of all this, and look how funky and kind of psychedelic that looks. I think it turned out really fun. And you can see those concentric circles or the washer stencil in the background, and that added a little bit more interest to it. So I'm using the Moana stamp, that's the fairy, and the birthday wishes. Yes, birthday wishes, to stamp a birthday wish for you on the front, and I'm using VersaFine Clair for that, so I can get a nice dark impression. And I think that the black stamping really is a really nice contrast against the bright, vibrant colors of my background. I'm going to have to stamp this a couple times on that fairy at least to get a nice dark impression there. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp the inside sentiment for my card. I am going to put this on a black card base, so I am stamping a white piece of cardstock here so I can glue that to my black card base and still write my personal sentiment when I send this card. So I am using the return to you sentiment for that. And here I'm just showing you that when you stamp on Oxide, sometimes that ink will show through a little bit on the VersaFine Clair. I am not sure why it does that. So I am just using a Stabillo All. It is a water soluble pen here, or it's not a pen, that is a pencil, a water soluble pencil. I'm just coloring over the parts that the stamping is, or the ink blending is showing through the stamping. And when I get done coloring over this and making sure that everything is nice and dark, I am going to use a little bit of water and a small paintbrush. As you see, I'm just spraying that water on my glass mat there, and I'm just going to make that, well, I'm going to use that water-soluble part of that pencil and just blend that in. And then I will show you up close on the camera how that looks, and you can no longer see that yellow shining through that black. So it looks nice and black and crisp. I've also used Sharpies in the past to do this as well. So either works. I think that the Stabillo All works, is a little bit more seamless blend than the Sharpie is, but whatever you have on hand will work. Here I am just using a Sakura Stardust glitter pen to fill in the wings and make them all sparkly and pretty. So to finish up this card, I'm just going to glue my card front onto a black card base, and then I will glue the white part into the inside, but I did that off screen. And that will finish up my card for today. I hope that you enjoyed this project and learned how you can change up your printed papers or pattern papers a little bit and make them fun and unique and your own. The supplies will be listed in the description box below, as always, and my channel links and the channel links for all the social media links and everything will be in the description box below as well. If you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you gave it a thumbs up and subscribed to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, have a great day.